Hey, what's up guys? In this video, we're going to be finding the domain and range of the sine function. Okay, and our function is f of x equal to sine of x. This is what we're doing. And you can see here I've drawn out a unit circle, the next y coordinate to represent that. Of course, on a unit coordinate, unit circle, this point here is 1, 1 and 0, sorry, 1 and 0, pardon me, 1 and 0. um, that point there has a coordinate 0 and 1. And if we continue going down, this point will have the coordinate, this point here will have the coordinate -1 and 0. And the last one here will have the coordinate 0 and -1. All right. So I mean, in this, this is an x coordinate. This is an x-axis. Under the x-axis are all the cosine value, and on the y-axis are all the sine value. Now we need to find the coordinate of the sine function on this table on this unit circle by using the x value and their images y value. And to do that, we need to draw up um, a table of values to represent all those values. Okay, so this is going to go like this, having a x value here with its image sine of x. Okay, so now we're going to be, we're taking this point, this point here. We have the coordinate of this point here is 1 and 0, but we're talking about the sine, so we're not going to take 1 because 1 is there here represent on the cosine. Okay, so the sine are values that are always raised on the y-axis. Okay, now what is the value? I mean, we are here, this is this value right here, and the sine is 0. When we here, we have the cosine 1, but the sine is not represented because the sine is not red. Okay, it means that the sine should be normally 0. So over here, we have the sine 0. Okay, so the sine is 0, and that's here. Okay, and when we are at this point right here, it is when you take it in radian, because this thing is, the whole thing is going to be represented in radians. When this thing is radians, where okay, when we here, we're having a pi over 2, we're having here pi, we have here 3 pi over 2. Okay, and come back here to 2 pi. Okay, and if you just go this way, you're gonna have minus pi here. We're gonna have minus pi divided by 2 here, and minus pi and minus 3 pi over 2, and this is gonna be equal to pi divided by 2, and then minus 2 pi. All right. Now we're taking the value pi divided by 2. We're right here. Okay, and at this value here, we can see that when we have the sine of pi, it is 1. It is this value, because remember, we're taking all the y value. We're looking at all the y value. We're looking for all the y value of the function, right? So the sine value here will be 1. Okay, so we have a pi over 2, and the sine of it is 1. All right, now we go to pi, and pi is right here with the orange. Over here, we're having -1 and 0. So the pi, the y value here will be 0. And let us take another, go to 3 pi over 2. 3 pi over 2 is the yellow one. We're having 3 pi over 2. And at this very point where you can see the y value, which is on the sine or the x or y axis, is -1. All right. And we can go ahead, take like maybe we continue here to 2 pi, for example, and we complete the whole circle. We're taking a 2 pi here. It means that we'll come back to that third point we started at. So it's going to be here 0 again. Okay, let us just represent it on a XY coordinate. So this is exactly what we'll be describing here. We started here at 0, starting here at 0. That's what we got here. Then we went to 2 pi over 2, could be somewhere here. Then we got a pi over 2. Then we went to minus pi, excuse me, went to pi, and continue to pi over 2. We got 0 pi over 2 pi. Now we have it 3 pi over 2, something like that. 3 pi over 2, and then we continue to 2 pi, could be right here, for example. And you can continue going on and on. It means that we're going to be starting here at 1 0, you know, turning on and on and on and on and okay. And on this side right here, we have, if you're, it means that we'll be going, you know, clockwise this way. So we'll be having, this is the negative side of the xy coordinate, and the point here is minus pi divided by 2. So we could just mark it like this, minus pi divided by 2. And of course we have the minus pi at the other side, just like here. All right. And of course we need to remember that we are in a unit-circle, and our limits are on the top of 1 and at the bottom at -1. Okay. All right. So let us continue representing the point. Different point. We had 0 and 0. Now we're having, for x equal pi over 2. Pi over 2 is right here. We're gonna have 1. So something like here. Okay, this point's right here. And for x equal pi, we say we're having 0. So the point is right here. Okay. We had, just to mark it a little bit, you know, bold-faced, so that it could be good seeing, something like that. Okay. We have here, we had this point right here. Oh, this is the blue one. All right. Now we're having 3 pi over 2 here, and it's -1. 3 pi over 2 is -1, and it's something like right here. All right, something like right there. And we're having to point out 2 pi will be equal to 0. So 2 pi is coming back to the y-axis, you know, going back on 0. And of course, if we want to represent the value on the negative side of the y, the x, we can continue, you know, our table's value by doing something like this and taking the value minus pi over 2, right? Minus pi over 2, minus pi over 2. This is here. So the y value of it is -1. So we're going to be having -1. And pi, minus pi, of course, minus pi is here when we're going this way, minus pi, and then the y value of it is 0. So we can draw it onto here like this. Got this one, the tabular value of done. All right, now let us just connect the point. Let me say we said that minus pi divided by 2 is -1 here, right here, and minus pi is 0. The point is right here. Okay, we just needed to connect all those points to have our sine function. All right, let me just draw it like this, try my best. Okay, this is the function, our sine function, doing something like this, going over there. right? Oh, the freehand is not my thing, but I'm trying my best. Going through pi is 0 again. Okay, and then dropping down to -1 and go to pi, the 2 pi, right here, right here. All right, it's a little bit something like that. So this is actually how our sine function looks like. If we continue here, we can have here have another point here. We're going to be having either our function going this way and dropping down again, right, and going on and on and on again. So this point here could necessarily be another point at the same one, just like a minus pi, just like a pi over 1. Okay. So this could be our function drawn out like this, a sine function. All right. Now, our question is that we need to know the domain and the range of this function. This was our primary question, and we need to answer that question right now. So, what is the domain right here? The domain. Remember, in our previous video, said that the domain is all. I mean, the domain uh, are all values of domain functions are all values written on an x coordinate. So all values that are written in this coordinate here belong to the domain of the function. Alright, so let us just say here the domain of the function. So what is this domain? As you can see, this function can have value even in the negative side of x or in the positive side. So this is all only be r, and r are all real numbers. So it can be do in an interval of minus infinity to plus infinity. Okay, that's the domain of our function. And now we need to know what the range is. And the range of our function right here, you know, compare, I mean, the range here in the contrary of domain are read on the y-axis. As you can see, our function is just like, going through in between -1 and 1 and keep going -1 and 1. This is our range. Okay, so we will say that it is here. If we have our sine function like this, sine of x, it is less than, the function is less than 1. Okay, because we're not going that far than 1. So the function keep going, until 1 and dropping back, and the function is in between there, -1 and 1, here and there. So we can put it in the interval by saying that the range is actually -1 included and 1 included also. Okay, so that's how you can find the domain and range of a sine function. Thank you for watching again. Until next time, bye bye.